Welcome, Franklin County residents, and thank you for tuning in to the Candidate Forum for Franklin County Judge Executive General Election held on November 8, 2022. I'm J.C. Young, and I'm honored to serve on the Chamber Governmental Affairs Committee and the moderator for this forum. The office of county judge was established in the 1850 Kentucky Constitution. Until 1975, the county judge presided over the county court of justice, holding a number of judicial, legislative, and administrative duties. The executive function was added in 1976. The office now holds the duty of being the chief executive for the county. The county judge executive has the primary responsibility for the administration of county government. The office comes with an immense amount of obligation, all outlined and granted through the Kentucky General Assembly. The county judge uniquely serves on fiscal courts with elected magistrates and receives much of the authority from the actions of the fiscal court. The office that you are seeking has become increasingly more challenging as the tasks continue to pile up. I'd like to publicly thank both of you all for seeking this position in our own Franklin County. In this candidate forum for Franklin County Judge Executive, we're honored to have Mr. Michael Mueller and Mr. Ken Carroll. Before we begin, I'd like to thank and recognize the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce for establishing this candidate forum and the Frankfort Plant Board for hosting and broadcasting this event. Serving as our esteemed panelists and those doing the real work in this function are Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Ms. Tish Shade, Client Relationship Officer at Traditional Bank and Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Board Member, Ms. Annabeth Bobbitt, President and CEO of Expree Credit Union and Chair-elect of the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce, Mr. John Graham. I would also add that the questions that these panelists are being asked came directly from Frankfort Area Chamber members. Candidates, you will have 2 minutes for opening remarks, 2 minutes for closing remarks. You'll have 1 minute for responses to questions with a 30-second follow-up if asked by the panelists. You also have 2 opportunities to extend your time or rebut another candidate's response. This is titled bonus time. Please just signify to me you'd like to use one of those 2, and I will grant you that opportunity. Both bonus times will be 1 minute each. We have a timekeeper, and I would ask the candidates to be respectful of that process and pay attention to the time allowed. We had a draw prior to the forum, and opening remarks are going to begin with Mr. Ken Carroll. Mr. Carroll?
Thank you very much. I would like to first thank the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce, Frankfort Plant Board, and J.C. Young as the moderator. My name is Ken Carroll. I bring 30-plus years of economic development experience to this race and to serve as your next Franklin County Judge Executive. I've worked in both the public and private sectors to sell Kentucky through the Cabinet for Economic Development, to help sell the University of Kentucky College of Engineering, to sell the Kentucky Association of Manufacturers, as well as things that I've done in the private sector, including as a consultant in economic development and talent development, which I think is the big challenge of our time. So I believe I am, and of course the public will decide if I am the correct one to serve in this capacity, which is very challenging, I think, for any elected official these days. I would like to point out that even before winning this election, which I feel pretty good about, although we're running like we're 10 points behind, that we're already getting contacts from folks that are wanting to do business in Frankfort and Franklin County. Just in the last week or 2, including yesterday, I've had meetings with 3, our contacts or discussions, if you will, with 3 individuals that want to put RV parks in Frankfort, Kentucky, 2 of which with boat ramps. Yesterday as well, we met with both someone wanting to bring in a mechanic shop as well as a restaurant because they saw our ad on Facebook about all the empty storefronts. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mueller, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I want to begin by saying thank you to J.C. Young and Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce and the Plant Board for hosting these events. My name is Michael Mueller. I'm currently the 3rd District Magistrate on the Fiscal Court here in Franklin County. My wife Andrea and I own Inside Out Design. It's a local landscape design build company. I've been in Frankfort for over 25 years now, and I really love this community. When I decided about 10 years ago to get involved, I joined the Chamber Area of Commerce. I eventually served as the chair, heading the education department there when we started initiative, and then I kind of started volunteering with Sculpture Park, Women's Shelter, American Red Cross. I just learned a lot about our community. When people ask me why do you want to go from being a current magistrate to a judge executive, I think it's because I can see the potential of our community. We're right there on the teetering point, especially coming out of a pandemic. I think it's going to take strong leadership to get us heading in the right direction. But ultimately, it's because of my children, Jewel and Vance. Jewel's a freshman at Western Kentucky University, and my son's a senior at Frankfort High. So, I want to help create a community where they can have good-paying jobs, a diverse place where they can raise their families and be safe. I'm the candidate that has vision, and I like to think outside the box. I have built a nationally recognized business, and I'm a leader that has a passion to lead. I'm great at fostering relationships and getting things done. I think that's one of my strong points, and I'm focused on the whole well-being of Frankfort and Franklin County, not just one area. So thank you again.
Thank you both for your opening statements, and our first question comes from Tish Shade.
Okay, so mine's a two-part question. How would you define a pro-growth candidate? And if you consider yourself pro-growth, give us an example of how you have displayed that.
That was for you, Mr. Carroll's one-minute response.
In my mind, a pro-growth candidate, which I am, and I've demonstrated on many occasions, is through my landing page, for example, on smart growth. Number one, we have a very business-unfriendly community. We must have a business-friendly community and be able to grow in order to pay for the operation of state government and to pay for the amenities in our community. In terms of things that I've done directly, most of my economic development life has been involved in talent development. And I do have a talent development plan, having worked and led a 501c3 organization, Advanced Manufacturing Professionals, to do that very thing. And so we're in the midst of doing that in various areas of Kentucky, and I want to bring that to Frankfort and Franklin County. Thank you.
Mr. Mueller, 1 minute.
So pro-growth, I think, is a big term. Everybody is worried about, we're not growing. There's a lot of red tape in our community. That's one of the reasons I ran to become magistrate, because I wanted to try to figure out as a homeowner and as a contractor what was going on. I think a lot of things we can do better. I think pro-growth to me is somebody who wants to do it the smart way and not just turn everything loose. I think we tend to sprawl. I think we need to drop back a little bit and look at infilling before we do anything else. I think we need to look at another industrial park and try to figure out where that could go in the future. As far as how am I pro-growth, on the fiscal court currently, I've approved 2 TIF projects that are going on, talking about riverfront development, working with the surrounding counties to try to get the locks open so we can really create a true riverfront, not just, have a pool of water. So that's where I am. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Annabeth.
May I have my bonus time?
Oh, yes, sir.
That gives me a minute.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, my candidate has been in office 3 years and 9 months. I don't see any evidence at all of what he's done to move this community forward. He'll talk about the park project, which I support as well, but I've heard figures from $50 to $70 million. Let's say it's half of 50, $25 million. There is no plan to pay for that. And if we don't have growth to be able to add to, or not increase the tax base, but increase the tax dollars that come in, my opponent is going to have to either not follow through with his promises or raise your taxes. I am not raising your taxes. And I am also already pursuing 500 to 700 acres of industrial development growth in this community. But I need your help to make it happen so we can have the whole community thrive, especially Frankfort and the downtown area. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Annabeth Bobbitt, and it's going to be to you, Mr. Mueller.
Looking into the future of Franklin County, it is clear that the state government workforce continues to change its in-office schedule and work-from-home availability, vastly shrinking Franklin County's daily population swell. What's your proposal for our community to grow or hold our population and keep existing local businesses?
Thank you. So, I think when we talk about existing businesses and things, we need to make sure people are happy here. I think because of a lot of the red tape and a lot of things that have gone on over the years, that we need to do a better job of making sure the companies that are here are happy. We need to figure out with the government leaving our community, and that's taking, tax dollars. I think 65% state workers are now working outside of Franklin County. We need to figure out what we can do to build a better community because of that. I think we were really good at state government when state government was here, but now we need to figure out what direction we're headed, and that all comes down to having a plan. Thank you.
Mr. Carroll, 1 minute.
State government workforce will never be the same in Frankfort, Franklin County. We've depended on it for too long and should have already had a plan in place to be able to mitigate that situation. It's simply not coming back to the point in which it was. Now, with that in mind, two things. One, on the industrial growth of the community, which will help everybody with disposable income, is to be able to do a plan, a current state plan of where we are today, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. I've done these kind of things in working with companies and working with communities. And through my lean systems training and education from UK, I can bring this to the community to not only help the county government be efficient with the dollars that it has, but also help the community as well be put on a continuous improvement pathway for all of us to be able to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Next question comes from John Graham, and it's going to be to you, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll, what's more important for Frankfort right now? Is it building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts? And then how can we then going from there to how would you address the housing crisis that we have in Frankfort, Franklin County, and taking care of the homeless?
Okay, number one, I've heard my candidate and many others that are on the non-growth side talk about infilling. That's important. What they fail to recognize and don't understand because of a lack of knowledge in economic development is that you must have people with careers in this community in growth industries such as manufacturing, healthcare, IT, logistics, and energy. Those are the growth industries for Kentucky. They should be the growth industries for Frankfort and Franklin County. And so with 500 to 700 acres of land, we can have enough companies come in, thousands of new jobs, careers actually, not just jobs, but careers with lucrative pay, which will help the downtown in the city areas fill those storefronts because they simply do not have development property available to do that. And so that would be my plan. Let's bring more folks with disposable income. And I think like our surrounding counties, we can do a lot more in terms of packaging home opportunities as benefits to those new careers. Thank you.
Mr. Mueller, 1 minute.
Would you mind repeating the question?
What's more important for Frankfort right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing / expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts? And then how could this help with the housing crisis that we have here in Frankfort, Franklin County, and taking better care of our homeless population?
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to try to do my best in a minute. As far as infilling and things like that, statistics show you have to have a booming downtown in order for the rest of the community to thrive. I think everybody wants new buildings, new things, but I think there's so much that we have already that we need to repurpose. Currently right now, I think the city has over 1 million square feet of office space that's not going to be occupied. So I think we need to look at that and either rezone it or we need to tear them down and get them ready to build, to go. As far as housing crisis, I think that's a big issue. I think we really need to, we're having a housing study done now. The city and county are working together to do a housing study to see exactly what we need as far as, maybe it's single family, maybe it's condos. We don't know at this point. I think a lot of people are guessing. A lot of people are trying to do the right thing. We just have to figure it out. Homelessness, fiscal court currently has approved the Simon House. We're building a shelter for some homelessness there. There's always room for improvement, so I know that's one issue that the fiscal court's working on. Thank you.
Mr. Next question. Next question comes from Tish Shade, and it's for Mr. Mueller.
Okay. Frankfort is a college town, but has not been able to capitalize on that. Why do you think that is, and what steps would you propose to change this? And then I have a follow-up.
Okay.
1 minute.
So College Town with Kentucky State University has been a huge thing. When I served on the Chamber of Commerce, that was something we worked on all the time. We invited them to the community. We do banners downtown, things like that. It's never really truly worked. Currently, my thought, our best case scenario, I had a meeting last week with the governor and the mayor to look at converting the Exum Center, the whole pool and everything, to a YMCA that would bring our community onto their campus. And I think that might help start getting things started. Another thought I have is I would like to see better internships with the Kentucky State University and our existing businesses. I think Frankfort High does a good job of that. It's mandatory. Everybody does a internship once a year with different companies. And I think getting the students in with mentorships with our community would be a very, very positive thing. Thank you.
Mr. Carroll? Oh, you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
how would you improve the communication and inclusion with Kentucky State University and Franklin County?
Is that 30 seconds, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, repeat that once more.
So how would you improve communication and inclusion between Kentucky State University and Franklin County?
I think for me, I'm a big proponent of meetings. I don't think right now the city and county and state do a good enough job meeting with Kentucky State University. So for me, I think minimum monthly meetings with the president or board members to communicate about what we're doing and what they're doing and how can we do things together better. So that's where I'm at.
Mr. Carroll, your response for the first question, you want Ms. Shade to repeat it?
Not necessary, thank you. Well, my campaign has already begun an effort in working with Kentucky State Universities. We've had multiple meetings to talk about how they can become a bigger economic development player in the communities. Our plan in relation to talent itself is to link, not just plan, but link, take action to link the county school systems, the city or independent school systems, the Christian schools with Kentucky State University. I believe that as a land-grant university, they possibly can even become a community college as an opportunity as well. So tie all those together, develop a pipeline, as well as look at opportunities to bring in others that want to work with them, as we have done already. It started with that in terms of bringing in a business to talk to the university about helping put the university and our whole community on the map.
Ms. Shade, you want to ask your follow-up, please?
So my follow-up is, how would you improve the communication and inclusion between Kentucky State University and Franklin County?
Okay. So Frankfort, Franklin County, obviously, we need to be communicating together, not just sort of passing in the night. We need to have the city, the county, the school systems, Kentucky State University, Kentucky Community and Technical College System working together. I mean, their role in the community is education and training. I'm encouraging them to take a look at technical education as a basis for what they do and be able to fill niche at all levels for those growth industries that I talked about and have paid co-ops, not internships, but paid co-ops with those companies.
Next question comes from Annabeth Bobbitt, and it's going to be to Mr. Carroll.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelby County, Woodford County, Scott County, as well as several other, Fayette County, have indoor swimming facilities. Why do we not have that in Franklin County? And what is your priority for an indoor swimming complex for the school teams to use, as well as the older population to have for daily exercises?
Well, we don't have it because we have a lack of leadership in the city and the county. And with leadership and with being able to have collaboration, which is my personal brand, between the school systems, particularly with Dr. Kopp, who superintendent of the Franklin County Public Schools, has bought, as I understand, The other YMCA building, if you will, out on the west side of town, and has a couple, 3 acres behind that, in which he proposes to put a performing arts center and an auditorium. $25 million project. It currently has raised, and Michael might be able to confirm this from the county, I think a couple million from the county, the school system, 10 million. The city, I don't know for sure at this point. The problem is they're not going to be able to fill the gap. They need business and industry to be able to help fill that gap. And I think when you start showing love to the business and industry community, you're going to see all of them more willing to invest in our community. The current plan for Lakeview Park does not have the swimming facility. It just does not, and that's a lack of leadership.
Mr. Mueller, 1 minute.
So indoor facilities have been a big topic. You know, I think for years we had the YMCA downtown, and it worked well when it was there. Unfortunately, when that was closed and the convention center was taken down without a plan, here we are. Again, like I said, you know, I've been having meetings with the governor, Kentucky State, and the mayor to try to bring the community with Kentucky State to work together. So their pool facility could be rehabbed at a lot better financial spendings of taxpayer dollars. And I think that's going to be the best one up front. Mr. Kopp is working on an auditorium. Last meeting I had with him, because of coming out of COVID, you know, things are astronomical right now. So do new construction on that building just doesn't make sense right now. So I think to get us moving back in a pool for kids, seniors, swimming teams, our best bet is going to be Exum Center. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question. Mr. Graham, this one is directed to Mr. Mueller.
Both of you gentlemen talk about the importance of a thriving downtown. How would you promote, continue, spur this revitalization of our downtown?
Okay. So for me, downtown, I watched Lexington do it. The mayor, Jim Gray, did a phenomenal job. He identified what was missing, and he went and found those companies and brought them downtown with incentives or whatever it took. And now they're booming. So for me, I have the similar approach. Obviously, that's the mayor's duties, but I would like to work with the mayor to figure that out. One of the biggest issues downtown right now is there's no grocery stores, no supermarkets. So I think things need to be looked at as far as what makes a thriving downtown, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Other communities have done it all over the United States, and we need to take some of what they've done and incorporate it with who we are. So it's just a matter of leadership. At the end of the day, it's leadership, getting the right people together, and just making it happen. Thank you.
Mr. Carroll?
Well, again, my opponents had plenty of time to do that, start on that. 3 years, 9 months, and has not gotten it done yet. I will not ask you to be in a meeting unless we're going to take action from there and do something. I will not ask you to be part of a plan unless we're going to do something. Now, I think I said a while ago what I believe is the way, and it's already something that I've been a part of in Kentucky. It's something that I want to bring to Frankfort and Franklin County. We need more people with disposable income to be able to fill those storefronts. When the current entrepreneurs and those that see an opportunity because the increase of traffic in Frankfort for customers, they are going to open and bring new ideas or expand what they already have. But we must have those growth industries in the western, southwestern part of the county to be able to grow the whole community and for everybody to benefit, particularly the downtown.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if I could rebuttal there, Mr. Carroll here keeps saying I'm going to raise taxes and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. You know, Lakeview Park project, $45 million if you look at the 358 pages. We're currently have a design build out right now, and we're looking at a $10 million first phase. You know, we still have $7 million in ARPA funds available for projects like this. So I'm never going to take something on that's going to bury taxpayers and things like that. We need to be smart with what we're doing. As far as my actions on the fiscal court, you know, the duties of a magistrate are to serve the people. I don't set the agenda. I'm not in a leadership role right now. The current judge sets the agenda. He's the one that's doing the meetings and stuff. Our county attorney will even tell you, as a magistrate, we don't have any authority unless we're in the room voting. So, you know, I try to input as much as I can with things in this community, And I think my term as magistrate has been very good. My track record's been very good, and I think we're heading in the right direction. But because of lack of leadership, that's why I'm seeking the role that I'm sitting here, and I think he sees you.
Mr. Carroll,
Thank
bonus
you.
time, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much, JC. My opponent is a magistrate. He is one of 7 votes on the fiscal court. He has and brags about having a cabal of 4 to be able to do things. We can do it. We can get it done. Well, here's the problem. Yeah, the judge sets the agenda, but you know, with 4 votes, and in most agendas you have other business types of opportunities, additional business, new business, whatever it may be. They have that opportunity to have those 4 votes at one meeting, say, all right, we want to bring X, Y, and Z up at the next meeting. They can do that. And at the next meeting, they have the 4 votes to move forward. So I'm tired of hearing this, that I can't do anything. He can do something. I'm doing things, and I'm not even elected yet. I ask for your vote to help me get there, because we can do it together.
We've now reached the time for closing remarks. We started with your opening remarks, Mr. Carroll, so Mr. Mueller, we're going to defer to you. You have a 2-minute closings.
Okay, well, good. Again, thank you, JC. Thank you, Frankfort Area Chamber Governmental Affairs Board and the Frankfort. So, I'm a business owner, and one thing that I've learned over the years is it's all about leadership. You know, leadership is key to success. We must have goals, expectations, and accountability for our community. This is much what make happen if we're going to be a successful community from this point forward. The role of judge executive is more than economic development. It's about a winning team and putting a winning team together. We need to make sure our citizens are safe. You know, there's a lot of things going on in this world that just aren't safe anymore. We have a huge drug epidemic that nobody's talking about that we have got to get under control. We need to focus on quality of life. You know, I think for me, it's connecting the parks. It's connecting to our natural resources to make better quality of life for our community. We have a beautiful town, and we truly need to start celebrating that. It's not going to be an easy task, but I'm 110% ready to attack it. I've never been appointed to a job, and just because somebody is politically appointed doesn't make them a professional. Again, I think we have a wonderful community. We have the river, the creek, the parks. We just need to pull it all together. I think everybody's working hard. We just need to make sure they're working in the right direction together, rowing in the right direction. So, again, my name is Michael Mueller. I humbly ask for your vote on November 8th. If you would like to learn anything more about me or my campaign, it's MuellerForJudge.com. You can send me an email at MuellerForJudge@gmail.com, or you can just pick up the phone and call me at 502-320-3873. Again, I would love to have your support, and thanks for everybody being here today.
Mr. Carroll, 2 minutes for closing.
Thank you, JC. And again, thank the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce for putting this together, the plant board for making it happen, and for all of you that have participated today, and again, JC, for your leadership. I have been appointed in economic development positions. I've been hired in economic development positions in both the public and the private sectors. I've never, ever been a merit employee. Everything that I've done in my life, I had to produce and bring value. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I'm telling you, if you will, give me a shot. What do you got to lose? My opponent has not shown leadership. He's had the opportunity with 4 votes to be a leader and has not done it. I can't think of anything that he's done or fulfilled that he said he would do. We talk about plans. We talk about meetings. I'm well beyond that. I don't like having meetings unless there's a purpose. We're not going to have a plan unless it's actionable. You can't go around telling people and raising expectations, which is a key in life, in my mind. You don't raise expectations with anybody, especially the voting public, unless you can meet those expectations. Before anything was talked about with any improvements in this community, you ought to have some idea what it's going to cost, even if that's just an approximation. The word on the street, everybody I've talked to, $50 to $70 million for Lakeview Park improvements. I want to do a comprehensive plan for the whole community, to be able to have recreational opportunities for everyone, to be able to bring in sports tourism for the whole community to go forward and move forward. And yes, to grow our industrial base in those growth industries to have careers, which will help fill those stores and move us all forward. Thank you very much.
As we close, I would like to personally thank both of you for seeking this office. You've put your name on the ballot, spent your own time and money, skipped out on family events to serve your community, and I want you both to know it's appreciated. You've done a great job in this forum, and I wish you the best in this election. There have been some election law changes statewide in the last several years, and there's now multiple ways to cast your ballot, a few of which include mail-in absentee ballots, in-person early voting before Election Day, and just traditional in-person Election Day voting, which is on November 8th, 2022. If you don't know where or how to vote, please call the Franklin County Clerk's office at 875-8702, or check out their website. It's loaded with current election information. Voting is a right in this country provided by our Constitution, and these election changes will hopefully increase turnout. I sincerely hope and honor that you will honor those that have served and are currently serving this country and exercise your right to vote. It's been an honor to serve as the moderator and MC for this event, and I'd like to thank all the folks behind camera that have done all the work for making this possible. I'd like to thank the Frankfort Plant Board staff, chamber staff. That concludes this forum, and thank you for joining us.